Morning, guys. What's going on? Welcome to a new week. Flashy Gaming, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome in. Okay. Hop into it. Monday, so we gotta be careful. Generally, Monday's pretty low on volume, so we're gonna keep that in mind today. Looking at how we closed last week, we engulfed the previous weekly candle. We pushed down quite a bit and made our low, and we started to kind of make this little rejection. We pushed off that area a little bit there. So now we're gonna drop down to the daily, and we'll see that we are kind of bouncing off of a little support zone right within there. So we have potential for it to start to turn around and kind of keep pushing up, which I think we might see today. Looking at these candles, we rejected down here and we made a strong push up on Friday, and we closed up above this previous candle up there. So now we're creating higher lows on the lower time frames here, and this current candle, it can do a couple things. So we kind of put in a low right here. I'm not sure if that's going to be a deep enough retracement, so we might see it drop down a little bit more within here, and then once that candle flips back to bullish, then push up somewhere up within these areas up in there. Yeah, I'm expecting it to potentially push up today. Looking at the 4 hour, you can see the imbalances that we have all within here. And this look like here. So it's a pretty deep retracement that we just had within there. So as long as we're respecting this low down here, we're probably going to continue upwards. This impulse to the downside did break structure here on the 4 hour a couple times right there. So we might see a move up here. The only problem is we didn't actually break like real structure to the downside, just to tell us we were going to shift to a bearish downtrend on like the higher time frames. So for now, it looks like we just kind of put in a higher low here, made this move up, put in a lower or a higher low again, and now we're starting to make that next move up. So potential to, you know, create a higher high, keep pushing bullish. We'll have to keep an eye on it and watch it for sure, but previous 2 hour candles pushed up pretty strong, and we have a lot of clean traffic to the left right here. So keep an eye there. Drop down even lower. So now we can look at the 5 minute. You can see that we're kind of within this range right here, consolidating right there, and the high right there. So there's a high potential that we just kind of sit in here for another 20 minutes until we get to the open, probably break up the high. Once that high is broken, there's a good opportunity to take buys up there, because that high, after that high, there's really nothing stopping it from continuing upwards. Looking at the hourly, there's clean traffic all the way up until let's mark this real fast, up until 3400-ish area. So, and on our hourly candle, we're putting in the low right now. So we're starting to put in that low. Each of these candles have respected each other's low. So we're putting this low now. So if we start flipping this to the top side right around the market open, then we should see a continuation of the bullish trend right here. So expecting that to pop out. But if we do decide that it needs to retrace a little more, you can still take advantage of sells, because once we drop below this level, there's really nothing that's going to stop you until you get down somewhere right in here, 33.80. So keep an eye on that. NASDAQ. NASDAQ weekly candle closed bullish last week. Kind of a weaker bullish. We rejected hard to the downside, and this current weekly candle's open is pushed up a little bit, not giving us very much information. So the candle on Friday closed above this area, so we could see a drop down and then a continuation to the top side as well on NASDAQ. It's a little less clear because of how that weekly candle closed there. So NASDAQ's a little more risky today. Looking at SPX, we had our bearish close as well, just like US30. On here, we're not really rejecting an area like we were on US30, so probably gonna see continuation of the upside as well. But looking at this weekly candle, we could wick fill this as well, because there's quite a big rejection wick right there. So, and now we're kind of creating our high on the top right there. So if we start flipping to the downside, we'll fill this wick, potentially the whole wick, and continue to the downside. Looking at the daily though, Friday closed very bullish. So would not be surprised if we see a little dip down within here. Like I said, fill that wick again, and then kind of push back up and retest these highs up within these areas up there. Okay, just gonna drop even lower right here. Looking at the 15-minute, we have a high that was put in right there, and now we have this consolidation area really. So we kind of consolidated here for when did this start? Yeah, for 10 hours. We sat within that range. It kind of broke out right there, and now we're tracing back in, so it could be a fake out. So we could see this move here, grab all the liquidity that was sitting above here, and kind of push down. Once this low's broken, there's a lot of traffic, or there's nothing that's going to stop us from heading to the downside till somewhere around 39.20 there. But similarly, if we do break above 39.70 or 39.80, then we're probably going to make her push up and retest these highs at 40.10, somewhere up within that area. Let's hop to the DXY real fast. The XY candle looks like we're rejecting this area that we have been talking about for the last couple weeks, right within there. Put in our low already, and now we're starting to make that push up. Quite a bit of movement already there on this daily candle. So we put in our low, flipped bullish. So now our test comes up here, because this is kind of the zone that we are sitting within now. Consolidating, just moving back and forth within here. We need a break of structure here to kind of trend change. So there's our structure point right there that we're waiting for that to break right there. Similarly, there's our low. Once that low's broken, we're in this rejection area, so it's hard to say how far we're going to go, but we could come down as far as 101.268 and test even closer to that low down there. But if we do break that high at 102.900, probably going to head up somewhere within 104 area. So in here, we're making a pretty strong push up to the upside right now for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5-ish hours. So what up, AB? How's it going, dude? So yeah, the last like 5 hours we're making that push up. I could see some kind of rejection potential here, as we broke structure to the downside right there, but we didn't actually break the ultimate low down there. So this is a little bit more of an iffy setup, but if it is going to turn around, it's potentially going to happen right around this level right in there. So keep an eye on there. 5 minutes still just kind of crawling to the upside. So Bitcoin had some big moves over the weekend. Jump to this weekly candle. 2 weeks in a row we have put in 3 weeks in a row we put in bullish candles here. 2 weeks in a row we put in big strong candles with big momentum in there. So looking at kind of structure on the weekly, we did break this bearish structure that we've been kind of putting in right here, and we broke out right above there. Now we need to break this high, but it looks like we might reject a little bit right here, retrace potentially. If you look, it really just kind of took off here, and you can see better on the daily the structure that was broken. There's 3 levels, and then this ultimate high right there is the one that's going to show that it's really going to trend change for me personally. So probably going to see it push up or drop a little bit. We might come back down and retest these levels, make another push up to break this high before we start seeing our continuation, if that's what's going to happen. It very well could just reject somewhere off this level. It's been rejected a couple of times up there as well. So then it kind of puts us within this big range on the weekly, where we're going to need to wait for a breakout one direction or another before we figure out which way it's going to go. Go to gold. Let's see if gold decides it wants to put in a bearish candle for the first week in like over a month. Last week's candle definitely lost some of its momentum. You can see these 3 weeks had strong momentum, really no retracements to the downside at all. And last week's candle was a little bit exhausted. We kind of made our high and we pulled off that high a little bit and we rejected to the downside. So now we're kind of at an interesting point with this week's candle where we already put in our high, which was right up here, and we respected that previous week's high right there. So as long as that is respected, we're probably going to see some bearish side to gold this week. Looking at the daily, you can see that we are in this range now. Drop a little lower, you can see the consolidation area that we're sitting in. So just kind of moving sideways here. So we're going to need some volume to be able to break this out. If we are pushing up, then those highs up there need to be broken. If not, break these lows down there, then we can start making our leg to the downside. I think that would flip the... Oh no, the weekly candle is already bearish. So that should be the break of the low of the current weekly candle, and once that low is broken, then we're going to expect to see continued push to the downside. Okay. EJ. Let's hop back to US30 real fast. Actually, just take a quick look at it. Still within this area right there. Go to GJ. Weekly candle. Okay, yesterday's weekly candle closed bullish and engulfed the previous week candle. Now we're pushing up. We haven't really made our low yet. We made a small retracement, but we haven't really put in a low for the weekly candle yet. So I'm not ruling out the possibility of a retracement down to somewhere in there. Looking at the daily, you can kind of see where that's at. If we're going to respect the lows, though, it's going to have to be somewhere right inside of there. Looking at today's daily candle, haven't really put in our low, but we're starting to break up above these levels. This is a big rejection area though, so need to be careful taking any kind of buys on GJ. It's looking like it's going to start and come test this high up there, but once it does, we need it to not reject, and we need today's candle to close somewhere up above this area so that we know that we can continue to the upside. If we start rejecting up here, then who knows, the next day or two or however long it could start coming back down after rejecting there. So this daily candle is kind of important to show us what's going to happen here, because as you can see, it's rejected like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish times already. So it's definitely an area that GJ struggled to break. So let's jump to EURUSD. I'm gonna take this off for just a second so it's out of the way. Weekly candle. So this is similar to gold. It's just been pushing up for, you know, months, just straight uptrend. But we're kind of rejecting here. I don't know if it's because we just need to make our low on the wick first, and then it's going to flip back bullish. But for now, it's looking like we're rejecting there. The daily candles flipped bearish, and we kind of broke out of these highs, but it could just be a fake out there, and now we push to the downside. We need to see if this low gets broken on the previous day's daily candle, because if that does, it gives us a good sign that we're probably going to head down and at least test this support level at 107.6413 or 614. Hourly candle, this is something to watch as well. We have this impulse right there that broke all this structure to the upside right there, so potential to turn around somewhere in there and make another leg up. But if we're waiting for bullish moves, then we need to start seeing this move down and break structure here, break structure there, and right here. So we need to move down somewhere like that to kind of signify that, all right, we're done pushing up for at least a little bit. And yeah, Bitcoin. Signify that we're done pushing up for a little bit, and we're gonna kind of start making some bearish moves. GU weekly candle sitting in this rejection area. We're gonna mark all of it really right there. So we tested the high. I'm not sure if we broke it. We're gonna mark that right now. Look at the daily. No, so we did not break it. We might have just tested it exactly, but so it looks like we're rejecting that pretty hard right now. So if you're looking at these candles for the last, since January 6th. Been making this kind of channel up, and each of these candles are putting in lows, respecting them. But here we rejected the high that was previously made up there, and we're breaking these lows down to the downside. So potential to see GU downside this week for sure. So I'm expecting this to start kind of breaking structure here. You can see that we're in this range now, so there's really nothing yet. We need this to keep pushing down and break this structure there, ultimately break this structure there to the downside. So to kind of solidify our trend change to the bears, at least on the 4-hour time frame. It's going to take more to get that on the weekly, just based off how bullish we've been, and we broke structure on to the bull side on the weekly. So there is GU. I think that's everything for today. Is there any other pairs you guys want me to look at real fast? We've got about 8 minutes until the opening bell here, so I'm gonna mark this up. We're gonna take buys above 33,475. What's happened? Buys above 33,475. Okay. 2 minutes on this last candle before the 5-minute open candle. So we got about 8 minutes until the open. And then, so what we need to look at here is if we're tempted to take sells on the break of this low. I want to look at the hourly candles. I don't think that it would be a good move, honestly. Just looking at our structure here, we're making strong bullish moves to the upside right now. Our daily candles bullish, our weekly candles bullish. So really every time frame would be against us if we did take the sells here. So I'm thinking I'm only gonna take the buys. Jump to the DXY. DXY is also pushing up, so not ideal there, but NASDAQ and SPX are in a much bigger range. Yeah, I think we can be a little bit more safe with, if you want to play the sells, maybe you do it half risk down here, because every time frame above the 5 minute is against you. So you could risk like a full amount on a break at the high, but on a sell I probably would not do that, just because every time frame above is against you. So how if we got our entry at about 33,478, this count's gonna close in 40 seconds. Hopefully we don't break the high yet. We can come up close somewhere up here, that'd be awesome. But we're gonna probably set a buy limit just above there. Let's see, where's this at on my broker? 33,470. So it's like 8 points off. Okay, so we got that strong bullish close right here. So hopefully we see this first half of this last 5 minute candle start to push down, and if not, we might just push straight through up there. But $33,470 up there. Stop's probably gonna be like what, somewhere down here, probably like 20 points up in there. So okay, looks like we're pushing up, starting to make a move up there. See, it's a little early, so hopefully this isn't a fake out right there. So entry's gonna be like right there, stop right below. We'll see if we get this push up before the open. It's a little early for my liking, but you know, we've got bullish momentum here. Look at the volume. Keep an eye there. DXY is starting to reject a little bit. That's good. I want to see that drop. We just need this candle. I mean, it's still got a lot of time, so it's very risky trade, but we need this candle to stay up above this level. We really don't want it dipping inside here, and we especially want it to close up within here. So looking here, our stop was right there, so we need to get to there for our TP1. TP1 right there. Jump up here so we can see. I mean, on the 30-minute, it's a rejection area up until, you know, 33,500, so we can make this our TP2 right there. But we really we need this to hold on for 3 more minutes. We don't want this coming back inside and closing within this range. That would if we can close up above here for the open, that's a good sign that we're going to just use that momentum to carry us to the upside. Looking at the hourly candles, we already put in our nice low down there, so there's really no reason for it to turn around unless it's deciding it wants to go to the downside. Looking at our 1-minute candles, made that good push up. 2-minute candle, just kind of chilling as well. 2 minutes left on this candle. Looks like it was about 8 points from TP1. So it's kind of sucking back in. We need it to come back and close up there before the open. Entry criteria. So I kind of take advantage of high volume time, so we're getting towards the opening bell of New York. So looking at structure and breaking of highs and lows out of consolidation areas to continue with momentum to whatever side I'm trading with. So that's kind of why, that's my entry criteria. So we had this high up there that was broken. We're about 3-4 minutes from opening bell where we're going to see our volume pick up a significant amount up there. So this is a little bit early. Usually I don't take my trades until the opening bell, but it looked like we were starting to push up right before. So a lot of times you'll see a couple minutes before it starts to make the move first, and then as soon as opening bell comes, which is 7:30 a.m. my time or 9:30 Eastern, as long as we close above this area, you usually see a good push with continuation when the opening comes. So that's kind of my reasoning for taking this trade. We had this high that was up there, and all of our time frames up above us are telling us we're gonna push up a little bit. So 30 seconds left on this candle. Looking like we're gonna just close back inside. We hung on for about 4 minutes, but we'll see. About 20 seconds left. 15 seconds. New candle in 3 seconds right here. Okay, here's our opening candle, making our push down. Oh wow, okay, that was fast. Looks like we're heading to the downside potentially to test that low. So your stop would be pretty big on this, so and it was moving fast, so you probably weren't able to take advantage of that right there. Moving pretty quick to the downside. Let's look at the 30-minute candle. We broke lows there. There's really no rejection on the 1 hour on the side. I guess the only thing you could have said was 30-minute. There's this area there. That's a good example of why I don't like to take things before the open, and I generally don't, but for some reason I did today. We came up, we tapped into that area, and it looks like it'd been kind of a consolidation area on lower time frames before up in there, so that's something to look at for the next time for sure. Broke below the low and on that range right there, so if you would have entered, I mean, your stop would have been above the high up there, and TP1 definitely would have been hit for sure. To me, that was the riskier play because all of our candles were bullish on the higher time frames. The weekly was bullish, the daily candle was bullish, 4 hour, everything was bullish there. So looks like 4 hours leaving a nice rejection wick here. It's got 28 minutes left on the close. So this candle starts flip into the downside, then probably gonna see another push down, honestly. So this 4 hour candle is pretty important how it closes. Looks like we're gonna reject pretty hard. If we close strong bearish, then yeah, we're heading to the downside for sure for the rest of the day, potentially even for the rest of the week here. Looking at our structure points, this Rajesh, what up, dude? Rajesh, thanks for the sub, man. So we're pushing down right here. We've got this low right there. We've really got all this kind of structure that we put in right there. Just a little bit of a channel up in there. So now we need to kind of break structure there to the downside to signify a shift in structure. Let's see. Hourly candle. Sorry, let me delete some of this drawing because there's so much going on right here. Five-minute candle is starting to reject this area a little bit. Nasdaq, SPX, same thing, looking the same. Gold's making those pushes down, making lower lows now. I'll be interested to see at the 8 o'clock candle. We made this push down at the open. Generally at the 8 o'clock candle, in about 27 minutes ish is when you start to see a flip of the opposite direction at the open of the 8 o'clock candle. So not always. Sometimes you see a continuation. Sometimes you see a retracement. I think we had a day like this last week. I want to say it was Tuesday or something. We made this push down on the 5 minute, then we kind of consolidated for the next couple candles in here. We made this range and then we broke out to the upside. We came back and we retested those highs. So that's potentially something that we can see happen as well today. Starting to make that push down. This is what happened last week. We made this push down on the 1 minute time frame. It made this low and then it came back up and it instantly rejected that area. So we'll see if it kind of mirrors what happened last week or if we're just going to continue to see downward pressure here. Coming up on this low on the 15-minute candles. So watch this low there. Nasdaq pushed up already and is rejecting. SPX kind of did as well. US30 is the only one that didn't. Looks like we're breaking down again potentially. See how far we go there. DXY is consolidating now, just kind of sitting sideways, so we are within this zone right there. Remove all this real fast. We're gonna start fresh real fast. I just want to see. So we put in that high now on the weekly candle. I think I talked about this morning how we hadn't put in a low yet. We just kind of pushed straight up. So now we put in a high there and now we're pushing down. So I think we're probably going to come fill the majority of this wick right there. Which on the daily, it could just come in and put a low down there and start to flip bullish. But I'm probably expecting to see continuations to the downside, at least for today. So we had our first 5-minute candle just closed very bearish. So this next candle is, it made in the high, or I put in the high already. Now we're starting to drop down, so we'll see what happens if we see a continuation. We are kind of within an area where, you know, it could potentially reject a little bit. We're gonna mark these rejection wicks right in there. So this is the area that's kind of been rejected in the past couple days, a couple of times up in there. So if we continue with this high momentum, we're probably gonna break through it eventually. But right now we're just kind of testing this area, so keep an eye on it for sure there. Nasdaq actually broke the high. We actually made a push up and broke the high. It's kind of interesting. So what time was that at? That was at 9:35. So on Nasdaq, I'm gonna be watching these lows right here. Because we're kind of putting in a little bit of bullish structure right there on the probably like 15-second time frame. So once we start shifting, breaking these lows right here, then that's when we'll see the drop, kind of like US30 did. It looks like US30 still kind of just kind of falling to the downside, and SPX is within a range right now. If US30 rejects that area at all. DXY still in that range. GJ really hasn't moved. Euro USD hasn't moved, and GU hasn't moved either. So pretty low volumes on everything today except for US30. Honestly, US30 is the only one that really moved too much. So it's a pretty big candle. How many points did that one move? 149. So on average, opening 5-minute candles usually use, you know, move between 70 and 100 points in that first 5 minutes. So this one's very big. Usually they do not make that kind of a move. Nasdaq's pushing up. Yeah, it is. So we, like I said, we were kind of respecting those lows. But it's very ugly now, so you got two candles moving up, one big candle for that whole retracement, one big candle moving up, and then the next big candle is the whole retracement. So very choppy movements right there. There's really no like clean flow to anything within there. But you can kind of see the range that we're in now. It's pretty big right in there. So 5 minute. Candle, if this candle closes and pushes, it's got 40 seconds. We need it to close like right up there. The next candle pushes up, then you should be good to take buys to the upside. It's like we're breaking up. Seconds here on this candle close. Need it to stay up there, potentially keep pushing to the upside. Go to SPX. US30 is due for retracement for sure, and here goes Nasdaq, kind of pushing up to the upside now. Is there anywhere it could stall out here? Yeah, so this is a big rejection area on the 4 hour that we're in. So definitely got to be careful within this area, because it could turn around anywhere within there. But if we come up and test this high, there's a high potential that we're going to come test that. This is DXY starting to fall a little bit. We're rejecting there. So if DXY breaks out of that zone, definitely going to see a potential move to the upside, especially US30 needs a retracement, so it's starting to create that retracement. SPX is also pushing up. Nasdaq's the only one that's really breaking that high right now, but see what happens here. The way how Nasdaq and US30 aren't moving the same, dude. Like complete opposite. Crazy. crazy. Generally, they like to follow each other, but NASDAQ made that push down, and or sorry, US30 made that push down, and NASDAQ's making a push up. So who freaking knows? SPX is just kind of chilling in the middle ground. So the XY, we need this to fall. We need this to start breaking these lows down there. Gold moving at all. Gold's starting to break the lows down there. Got a pretty good rejection wick that it's breaking the low of right now. So now that it's breaking that, we're probably going to head down somewhere within 1910-ish area. Come test down at those levels down there. But yeah, looking here, we're starting to back off a little bit off this area. On US30, SPX, nice rejection wick on the 15, and NASDAQ's just making a strong push to the upside now. So we'll see how this 5-minute candle closes bullish. Probably going to come test this high up there. That's my guess. So looking at US30, you can kind of see the range that we're in now. It's very small, but gonna either break out to the top side and retrace more, or create another leg to the downside here. So probably, I can't see it consolidating for 18 more minutes within this 1-minute zone, but if it does, then the 8 o'clock candle is probably what's going to be to push it to the upside. And NASDAQ still pushing up there. SPX is pushing up as well, but there's a lot of rejection within here. So we'll see if it makes it through there. Looks like it's starting to pick up a little bit of momentum up there. So XY is definitely slowing down. Yeah, so if this low is broken here on the DXY, that would be awesome for bullish plays on the indices, because this is going to make legs down and break structure here, which means, you'll see the indices make that push up like they're kind of doing right now. 1 minute left on this 5-minute candle for NASDAQ. It's about to close very bullish. Might even come test this high in this candle. Gotta be careful with this high though, because it's rejected here pretty strongly before, and this is a kind of a daily rejection candle right there. So this candle did already put in our low right there though, so we could just keep seeing push to the upside. Once this high is broken, then there's really nothing till up in 11,800 area. So coming up on this area, it's kind of a pivotal point to see if we're going to slow down or going to keep using our momentum to push through. Look in here though at the volume. We've had a steady decline on each of these candles, so it's not something you want to see when you're coming up to a level you want to break. You want to see that when you're going away from a level. So if we were taking sells right here, this is kind of something we'd want to see, but for now, kind of signifying that we're losing a little bit of momentum there. US30, 1-minute candles, kind of faked out there a little bit. Really, this is where we're kind of within this big range right here. So kind of going to move sideways right here, I imagine, for the next 15 minutes. Once that high is broken, we'll make that push retracement to the upside. I don't know if we're going to come retest this high or not, because this is a nice impulse level. So we could, what's going on? We could, just recorrect this retracement right here, up into 33,440 area, and then turn around. Who knows? But if we break this high right up here, we're probably going to come up into this area, maybe even test this high up there that was made prior to the opening bell. So get rid of those. We're going to mark this zone that we're currently in here. NASDAQ still pushing up, and same with SPX. So strong minute candle on US30. 5-minute candles are not putting in any lows. They're just opening and pushing straight up. So we'll see here what happens. We're coming up on the high of this range. DXY might potentially be making that move to the downside. We'll see. It's rejected right here like 4 times now, so we need a candle to start pushing down and testing these lows down there. And NASDAQ almost tested that high up there, kind of backed off a little bit as it got up there. So see, volume is still decreasing as we're heading up. 3 minutes left in this candle. And SPX is now breaking that high. So this should continue pushing up as well. Yeah, there you go. US30's pushing up. We'll see if we come in, test this high again. 13 minutes until 8 o'clock. Looking at the 1 minute candles, you can see a little better of the steady decline in volume as we're starting to push up. So broke out of there. This candle might drop down a little bit before flipping to the bullish side and making another push up there. DXY, there we go. DXY is dropped out of there. We're starting to break structure to the downside here. We needed to continue pushing down to break these lows down there. Let's look at the hourly candle. Hourly candle is rejecting pretty strongly up there, so start flipping. Let's mark the low on this candle right there. So that's the low of the hourly candle. So if that candle breaks that low, probably gonna see a pretty strong push to the downside right here. So looks like we are making our push down. US30 still bullish here. 1 minute candle starting to slow down a little bit, but we're gonna have a little bit more volume coming in about 10 minutes. So gold broke out of here and kind of creating this structure here now, so we might see a potential turnaround somewhere up in here and make another leg to the downside there. If not, then we need to come test this high, and if that high is broken, then you kind of have a break of structure here, and then if it comes in and tests this high and breaks that, then you got to break a structure there. So then you're putting in bullish structure on the lower time frames. But for now, getting pretty bearish. NASDAQ is kind of coming back within this range a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. A lot of times when you have a push down this fast and then you see retracements this fast, it comes in and it breaks that high. If you're wanting to see a continuation, you need to see something where it pushes down and then it kind of flags up to the upside and creates a little bit of a channel to the upside and then breaks down. Really, I haven't had much success when I was trading like this to take a trade that impulse down, made a quick move up, because a lot of times it's like stepping in front of a train. There's so much volume momentum coming to the upside, try to get in right here and it just blows straight through. So something to watch there. See if we come test that high up there though. NASDAQ still pushing up, and we did break out of that area up there. SPX same there as well, so it makes me think US30 is probably just a matter of time before it follows and breaks this high up there. So see if we do. DXY is still dropping, perfect. That's what we want to see. We did break that low too now, so that is perfect there. We got 3 minutes until this, actually 4 minutes until this candle closes. Pushing up pretty strongly here. Yeah, looks like we're coming up, and we're probably going to come test this high, just based on how fast we're making this push up. Okay, so now we're back within this zone right in here, so got to be careful because it could reject anywhere within this area, because before it had consolidated for like 10 plus hours. So now that we're back up within this zone, you got to be careful. But looking at the other indices, they push straight through their highs, so I imagine US30 is gonna follow eventually. I don't know if it's gonna be now, or if it's gonna be wait a little bit. It could be an hour from now, but I'm not expecting this to make its move down right now, especially with every, I kind of talked about this earlier, every candle was bullish. Now we're starting to flip back to the bullish after that move to the downside. So looks like if you look at the hourly candles, we made that big strong rejection. We're 7 minutes from closing this hourly candle. So what we'll probably see is at the 8 o'clock open, we might see a small push down to kind of fill some of this wick right up in there, and then once we break that high, then really we're gone to the upside for sure. So yeah, NASDAQ is just still taking off, SPX as well, and DXY is dropping. So this is giving us everything we need to kind of expect a continued push to the upside for the indices today. On gold, kind of pivotal that we hold this high up there. If not, we kind of see a little bit of shift of structure here. In a minute, you can kind of see it's already breaking a little bit of structure. So starting on the lower time frames, we're breaking structure a little bit. Put too much weight on the low time frames, but you got to start somewhere when you're switching trends. So we got 1 minute until this candle closes. So expecting this to probably close somewhere within this zone. Next candle is where we might see a little bit more volume pick up again. This US30 is the same as the other indices, where we're just seeing a decline in volume with each of these 5-minute candles right there. So yeah, 30 seconds left on this candle for the 8 o'clock opening candle. And we were kind of rejecting this area a little bit. We'll see. We got 18 seconds left here. Yeah, so we just closed. We rejected this area pretty good. So we'll see if we start to head to the downside here. The XY, very good bearish close there, starting to push down a little bit on this next candle. Coming up to test this wick that we just made. There, NASDAQ breaking the high on the previous candle. SPX is looking like we're about to do that as well. We still trying to buy the US30. Yeah. Kind of looking like this was that fake move to the upside right here, or sorry, fake move to the downside here. Now we're coming up to break these highs up there, and then once those highs are broken, man, there's really nothing stopping us. So this is the last 5-minute candle on this hourly candle. So you can see we made that big push down and we rejected it pretty hard. If that's not a sign that this is gonna flip bullish, then I don't know what is. I guess the only thing we need to kind of do is kind of creating this bearish flag to the upside. We need to break out of the top side. Generally, this is kind of a bearish sign here, but it's only on 1 minute, so I'm not too worried about that. The 5-minute, we didn't break the high yet, so hopefully we're putting in our low on this candle. We need to respect all these lows here. Putting in the low here is fine in the first half minute, or the first half of this candle. Then the last 2 minutes, what we want to see is we want to see it break this high and ultimately break this previous candle's high to come up and push here and potentially break those highs. So that's what we're watching for there. Just need this candle to not do anything crazy to the downside, because we want this 1 hour to close pretty bearish. What up, Ty? No, Ty got banned. Guess it doesn't like caps. Yeah, I think you got a warning for all caps. Alright, let's hop back to DXY real fast. DXY is starting to make its retracement, which we broke structure here to the downside, so we definitely could see a that 1 minute. Yeah, we broke structure to the downside, so we might see it push up into this zone up there before we kind of make our move back to the downside potentially. If not, we need to watch these highs, because if we start breaking those highs, XY could continue to the upside, and that is not good here. We're looking like we're backing off this zone. We need this candle to kind of flip in the last 1 minute. We got 2 minutes left in this hourly candle, so pretty decent rejection still, but if that sucks back up in there, that's a good sign that we're going to kind of flip bullish for the rest of the day. XY is what we really need to kind of chill out here. So all three of them kind of retracing a little bit. Gold broke that high on the 1 minute there, so potential to see another leg to test this next high up there. We might see it retrace a little bit down here, especially where we kind of took this liquidity to the downside, made that move up, broke this structure there. So might see it move down inside somewhere within here before making that move up to test this high potentially. Let's see, 40 seconds left on this hour candle, so let's hop back to the 5 minute. Kind of putting in some bearish moves now on each of the indices. See if this candle can flip in the last 20 seconds. XY kind of backing off again. That's a good sign. We just needed to come break these lows and make another push to the downside for us to push up and break these highs. Five-minute candle closed. Okay, so that's our 5-minute candle. It closed as a nice doji candle right there. So we'll see what happens here with this 8 o'clock candle. We're kind of starting a new hourly candle. So we could create a move to the downside, kind of fill some of this wick, and then eventually flip to a bullish candle and come test these highs. If not, we might just break these highs right now and come test them. Who knows? DXY still just kind of chilling right here. We'll bear step in so we can wreck their SL and buy. Yeah. Okay, so this was kind of where we're in. Now we're breaking out of there. So we'll see if we come and we break this high up there. Looking like we're probably going to go test that high. SPX is breaking the high. NASDAQ already broke the high. Yeah, probably I'm looking for longs here. We need it to make a push up above there and break structure. We already got faked out on this move to the downside. We had taken buys at the break of this structure, and then it pushed so hard to the downside. So I'm not probably not taking any more trades today, but just kind of watching to see how the rest of this plays out. The XY is still kind of gonna create this channel to the upside right in there, potentially. So we broke out right here, but now we're coming back within this zone. So see what happens. 5-minute candle. Looks like we rejected that pretty good. That's what you were thinking for the day. Longs, yeah, nice. I still think that we're gonna fill some of this wick a little bit before we move up. So I would not be surprised if we'd reject here, kind of come down and fill a little bit of that wick before we flip back to a bullish candle. That's what you were thinking on the, oh, the DXY. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's probably going to make a move up a little bit, which would help our US30 kind of hour candle fill those wicks to the downside. And then hopefully the DXY drops out of that channel, creates a low. We also have this kind of move on the hourly right there that we're rejecting. Up in there, we almost rejected up the 718 area. But looking at the lower time frames, we broke a structure to the downside. Now we're kind of creating that channel up. So that's what I'm watching for there. As long as we don't come break these highs up in here, I'm expecting another move to the downside to come test this range that it was in before. US30 hasn't made a move down yet. So straight from the open, we pushed up. We haven't really made our bottom wick. XY. Okay, we're coming up in there. So this is kind of where it's pivotal. We needed to start rejecting and turning around up here. All right, later, Ty. Have a good day, bro. Okay. On these candles, on these 1-minute candles on this push up, we actually saw increases in volume, which is something that we hadn't seen on this whole move up. We'd seen decreases in volume. So we'll see if we just kind of made this push up, we get a little bit of a retracement here, and then make that move to the upside. Nasdaq's been easier to trade lately. Yeah, I agree. That's something we're gonna have to kind of keep an eye on. You know, if Nasdaq has a cleaner range and stuff like that, for sure. Because this move was perfect on the 5-minute. Look at this candle. That was a perfect trade. You could have made tons of profit right there. So we're gonna do better at kind of marking up all the indices and potentially playing more than one at a time. Just because a lot of times one will make the move, the other doesn't. That way we're at least hitting one of them. But it looks like today it was definitely Nasdaq that made that move, which, like you said, the last week or so, it's been Nasdaq every time that's making that move, and US30 kind of sits around, waits for a bit, and then makes it. So new 5-minute candle. We're starting to push down a little bit here. Go to the hourly. And here's our potential wick fill here, somewhere within here. So I don't think it's gonna fill the whole wick. If it does fill the whole wick, then the chances of it coming all the way down here and continuing are pretty high. So if we do come all the way down here, probably not gonna make a bullish move today. So but it's healthy for this hourly candle to make a low, especially if it hadn't broken the high yet. So putting in the low right now, if we start flipping to the bullish side and break the high, that's a good sign for today. XY, ooh, yeah, this is really interesting where we're at right here. This is kind of our area of where we need it to stop and turn around right here. If not, we're gonna come test these highs. potentially break structure to the upside. Okay, now US30 breaking out of the channel to the downside now. See what happens here. I'm gonna keep watching the DXY for just a second. A couple rejections here, kind of a good sign, but we really needed to come back down and break these lows. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. Looking like we're starting to break lows a little bit. That's a good sign for the downside, but we need it to kind of make a hard push down, or else it could just kind of be part of the channel right here. So we need a quick move to the downside somewhat soon. Looks like we're kind of rejecting off the bottom of this channel a little bit here, and just starting to consolidate a little bit here. Interesting, the highest volume was a bearish rejection candle, highest volume in like 15 minutes. Starting to push up again. What we need to see is this volume pick up as we come closer to this high, so that we can see a nice explosive move to the upside. Okay, we had a good close there. Got about 15 seconds left on this one. 5-minute candles, got 1 minute left here. It really made no push to the upside either, just kind of straight down. So we'll see how this candle closes. It's got 1 minute left there. Let's look at this hourly candle real fast here. So you can see we filled this wick a little bit now to the downside, and we're flipping back bullish. So if we start pushing up to break these highs, that's a good sign that we've already put in a good low, and we've filled a little bit of this wick down there. So start breaking these highs is a good sign that we're going to see some continuation to the upside here. 30 seconds left on this candle close, so if we can get it to push up and close up above this range, that'd be awesome, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen on this candle for sure. DXY is making a push back up, so not what you want to see there. Going to come break these highs up there. Yeah. So we're going to keep an eye on the DXY right there, but that's pushing up, so not a good sign there. It's like... Okay, so that 5-minute candle just closed. Pretty good rejection wick there. Closed pretty bullish, so we'll see what happens on this next 5-minute candle. But there's potential that we might just sit within this range now for the rest of the day, because there's really the time of high volume movement candles is a little bit past, but you know, it's still pretty early in the day, so let's see some breaks at these highs and continuation to the upside for the rest of the session. We just need it to happen relatively soon. This 5-minute candle did get a lot of volume, more volume than the last previous 20-minute candles, or 20 minutes. So this next candle, we need it to keep pushing up. We need to see another increase in volume as it's breaking the highs up there. XY kind of rejecting this area. In there. Now we're kind of creating a lot of liquidity up above there, so potentially see one more move to the upside up there and then crash. Just kind of looking for any kind of sign of bearishness on here, but we got liquidity up above these levels, so it could see a push up and then a crash down potentially. Okay, US30 is testing the high of this range again there, and we're coming up to test these highs. So this was exactly what NASDAQ did, and so we needed to break through these highs. We needed to break through and keep pushing to the upside. 3 minutes left on this candle, and we're breaking the high. So potential, I'm only gonna risk 0.5% on this because we already took a loss. So I'm gonna take this trade right there. Gonna take that to the upside. 2 minutes left on this candle. We need it to stay above that range and close up there. And this is a high risk because you got the DXY that was making that bullish move to the upside. So be careful there. 1 right there. TP1 right there. And there's a lot of space to the upside, so see if it keeps continuing to the upside. Okay, we're about 26 points away from our first TP. This candle's looking pretty strong to close as a nice bullish 5-minute candle. That's what we want to see there. And the DXY is starting to drop, so that's a good sign as well. NASDAQ, SPX as well, breaking those highs, but those have already pushed so much. I don't know how much more they can push today. US30 is really the only one that hasn't made any move to the upside until now, so hopefully we see continuation for the rest of the session. I think I'm going to leave a runner on this. If it does manage to hit TP1, I'm going to leave a runner on this and target like 33,829. Like that's going to be my final target for the day. They're assuming that we do win this trade, which it's looking good so far. So 5-minute candle's got 55 seconds. All we need is for this to close somewhere right around where it's at, or just come hit our TP right here. That'd be awesome. Let's take a look at the DXY, still dropping. Sign there, US30. 30 seconds left until this candle closes. So just stay up in there. Next candle can come. It might make a low first and then break the high. Still pushing up. 13 points away from our first take profit. And you know, patience pays off. Maybe. Don't talk too early, I guess. But yeah, starting to make our low. Just need this candle to make one more push up to at least secure something for the day. Good close on the DXY. Kind of see where we're in. It's still within this channel right there. Just need that to kind of drop out of there. That would be awesome. Coming up potentially 6 points away from hitting there. Yeah, come on, keep pushing. We're almost there. All three of them still pushing up. So close. Our final take profit is about 1 to 6 risk reward. So if we can get a runner on that, that'd be awesome. But first, we just need this first TP to hit. It's getting really close, but kind of tapping away. Looks like this candle could be the one. Hit it potentially. Real close. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna close 70% of our position right here. Yeah. So 70% of our position is closed. Now what we need to do is we need to move stop loss to entry. Okay, now it's a risk-free trade. We took some profits, earned back a lot of what we lost earlier today, and hopefully we just let this continue to the upside, because I think US30 still has a lot of room to go push up. So $3,400. Okay, so good second trade on the day. First trade we got faked out to the upside. We took buys right here, just got stopped out. Next trade we gave our buys second chance. We stuck true to our bullish bias, which I kind of stated at the start of this that sells are risky today because everything is screaming to continue pushing to the upside for the bulls. So we got faked out on the first one, made that move down, but I still held my bullish bias because of everything that was telling us that we're going to keep heading up. So second trade on the buys, was able to secure some profits there, make back what we had lost, and now we've got a runner. So most of my positions closed. I've got 30% of what I had still open, and I'm just going to let that run somewhere up within 33.7, almost 33.800 level is where I'm going to close this runner if it does hit that. So that should be it for that today. DXY is kind of interesting. We're now back within this consolidation range. Let's move this box right here and kind of so you can see. So before we dropped out of it, we moved sideways right here. Finally dropped out of it, and what do? We came right back in it, and what happens? Now we're moving sideways again. So potentially might see a break to the upside now, because this could have just been a fake out to the downside. If not, we need to come down and we need to retest this low and break through there to put in another leg to the downside, which would help our US30 trade, but I'm not sure we'll get there. Because we're starting to reject a little bit right here. 5-minute candles. This candle's got, actually it's closing right now. So what we need to continue to see happen is each of these candles are putting in lows. They need to respect each other's lows. Once this candle, this current 5-minute candle, if that breaks the previous candle's low, then there's probably a, probably like a 75% chance that we're coming back down to correct this move, which looks like it's might be happening right now. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we're breaking that low now. So there's a high potential that our entry is going to get hit. Our stop loss is going to get hit at our entry, but not always. It doesn't always happen like that. So at least we were able to secure some profits for sure. See what happens for the rest of the day. But we're starting to make this move down. We might come tap our entry and then make that move up. Let's look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ and SPX are still pushing up, and US30 is pushing down. So that's kind of been the theme of it lately. US30 has not followed the other two at all. DXY starting to break out of this range. It's a good sign there. See that push down. We need to come test these lows now. See if we break this low first. Actually, that's what we need to do first in order to be able to advance to the next level down here. Okay, and a couple bearish candles on the 1 minute there. 5-minute candle could just be putting in the low. If we start flipping and breaking this high now, that's a good sign that we're going to see some more momentum to the upside. The only problem that I'm still seeing with this is each of these candles are making moves to the upside, but we're seeing decreases in volume with each of them. So NASDAQ, same thing here. If you see this big move up, but the volume's decreasing as we're going up, so that's kind of a sign that, you know, we might be getting exhausted. We're probably going to start coming to the downside a little bit. Bulls are starting to get a little exhausted here. DXY broke that low. Now we're coming down. Test these lows potentially. US30 kind of making another rebound up. Can we break this high here? Once that high's broken, we'll probably see another leg to the upside. Yeah, there we go. That high was broken there. Starting to make it move up. 2 minutes left on this candle, so still a lot of time for it to keep pushing upwards. We already made our low right now, so there's really no reason for it to kind of flip and turn around here. NASDAQ as well, and SPX. Everything is kind of following each other now, and the DXY is starting to fall. Everything's kind of lining up for continuation on these pairs to the upside for the rest of the day. So if you want to, which I would recommend, we took profits there. Your next take profit's going to be right here. TP2 is going to be right here if you guys are taking it. I'm going to leave my position open for the rest of the day, but I'd recommend you taking more profits off the table right here at TP2 and potentially leaving maybe like 10% of your position open for the rest of the day. Those runners could pay out pretty good if you just let them run, but they don't happen like super often. So it's good to secure some more profits up at this level and then leave, you know, 10% of your overall position to potentially run. And if TP2 does hit, then what I would do is I would move my stop loss in profit. So either way, you're securing even more money. So right now our stop's at entry, so we're at a risk-free trade right there. But if we hit TP2, then we kind of created this new higher low down there. So then I'm going to move my stop loss to right below this level right there, just to kind of secure even more profits. Always trying to secure money, never giving it back to the market. Looks like we're probably going to come tap TP2. So far we've moved, you know, 81 points here. Not bad. This how big is this 5-minute candle currently? 60 points on this 5-minute candle there. We got in that, just different entry and different TP. Nice. XY, is it still dropping? Kind of. So we created this kind of little flag area. We kind of dropped out of it, so we might see a potential retest of this level and then a drop down. That would be awesome if we saw that. We'll look at gold real fast. Really nothing going on there. Starting to see a little bit of rejection here. What is the strategy here? Enter breakouts. Yeah, it's a little late in the session. I'm not entering anything else, but yeah, we enter breakouts based on high volume times and really using the weekly and daily candles to give us our direction. So what's your view on US30, bro? So US30 last week, we'll do this real fast again. Last week's candle, so we rejected pretty hard off of this weekly resistance level. This has been a level that, you know, it's been tested
probably 5-6 times, and it's never been able to break. So we bounced off that pretty hard. We made this push down to the downside on the weekly candle, and we closed Friday. We closed Friday with a bullish candle, so we kind of made this, we didn't break these lows down here. There's a pretty good rejection area within there, so I was expecting some bullish moves to the upside this week. If you're looking at these candles, Friday's candle put in a low down here and immediately pushed up and created a high, engulfed this previous day's candle, which was Thursday's candle. Now today's candle put in a low, and we started flipping that to the bullish side. So I was expecting bullish movements today. Looking at the kind of how the 4 hours moving, you can see we're kind of in a consolidation area at this point, but we did create this high here, broke out of all this little consolidation area structure there, and we put in a low down here kind of as a little retracement. So I was expecting a move to the upside, at least somewhere up into this zone, potentially higher to come test these areas up there, up on the daily. But that's kind of my view there. And then for today's trade, we dropped on the lower time frames on the 5-minute, and we marked our highs, and we took a buy as soon as we broke this high, because that was the shift of the 1 hour structure here. That high was the previous 1 hour candle, so we had made a low on this candle, and then once we broke that high, it gave me the confirmation that we're breaking this high, we're probably going to continue to the upside. If you look left, there's really nothing that's going to stop it from continuing up until, you know, somewhere 33,800 level. So I had all the confirmations there that we're heading bullish, as well as the DXY kind of gave me confirmations that DXY is probably going to drop a little bit today, which helps us push up on the indices. So that is my view on that, Roderick. And I wish I didn't delete my entry. Is it going to let me go back far enough to my entry? Alright, let's see. Oh! Perfect. Okay, so our TP... Oh man, thanks for that. Yeah, no problem, man. You're welcome, Roderick. So our TP2 is about to get hit right here. It's starting to push up. So once this gets hit, we're going to move our stop loss right above. Oops. We're going to move our stop loss to right here. Looks like it was close to getting hit, but it didn't quite hit yet, so it was about 7 points away. About 109 points in profit right now. Actually, my profit, or my entry, is a little higher. I think 33,490. Close, but starting to push down a little bit here. 5-minute candles are still respecting the lows, except for this previous candle. So we just need this candle to close in 20 seconds, and we need it to close bullish, but even if it closes bearish, it's fine as long as we're respecting the lows. XY still pushing down. It's good to see there. We need to break this low here, create another leg to the downside, and ultimately test the low of this channel that we had created up in there. So really nice trade, man. Thanks, NECA. Welcome back, bro. Let's see. Okay, new 5-minute candle just opened right here. So we closed bearish here. So what we need to happen is we need to respect this low. Looks like we're starting to push up. Not a good sign to push up right away. Generally, what we want to see happen is we want to see the first half of the first half of the 5-minute candle pushing down. Mar, dude, thanks for the sub. Welcome, bro. So we want to see this first half of the candle push down, and then second half of the candle start flipping bullish and break the high of this candle and break the high of the previous candle. But you know, I'd be fine with it just breaking it right now. As long as we hit our TP2, then we're good there. And look at the 1 minute here. Volume picked up a little bit on this last move to the upside. Wasn't even sub, using different Google account. You're good, bro. Yeah, TP2 just got hit right there. So now stop loss is going to be below this low. 33,500 is where we're putting it. So either way, you're going to take profit on the rest of your position, which closing about 10% at TP2 right here. So close a little bit more there. Yeah. Looking here, we could see a retracement here soon. We've made a pretty strong move to the upside, and we really kind of followed what NASDAQ has been doing, but it just took, you know, like what, 15 minutes until 15 minutes delay on what NASDAQ did. So we kind of use that as confirmation that NASDAQ and SPX are pushing up, US30 is pushing down, probably a fake move on the US30. So that's just kind of why we took this buy there, and we're still pushing to the upside. Like I said, is it still there? Final take profit is going to be 33,792 up there. It could be a little bit before we get up there because it's quite a bit of ways away. Hopefully we don't come back down and retrace and break our hit our stop loss before we make that move to the upside, but that's a high possibility. We've already taken off so much profit off the table anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal there. But XY still dropping. So we came back and we tested that low now. So we'll see what happens here. This is kind of a spot where if we're going to see that continuation of the upside, we need to, or continuation of the downside, sorry, we need to break this level and we need to stay below that level. We don't want to break it and start coming back up in here because then we're just in that consolidation zone again. So is there any other pairs you guys in the chat want me to look at real fast? Kind of getting towards our end of the stream. If there's anything else you need me to look over, I can do that real fast. If you want like a kind of a direction for the day on a pair or something like that. Bitcoin. Oh, wow. Bitcoin made a huge move to the downside. Well, not huge, but on the 1 minute, pretty big. How far did that drop? From 23,100 to 22,500. It's about $600-ish. Pretty decent move. In what, 3 minute candles? Yeah. 1, 2, 3 candles to the downside in 3 minutes. Pretty good move there. So now let's hop back on Bitcoin real fast. Kind of see what might happen. So the last 2 weekly candles, again, bullish. Here we kind of put in the high right there. I'm expecting if we're going to continue bullish, we still need to put in a low down here. So that's probably what's going to happen maybe the first half of this week, you know, Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday. We might see a retracement to the downside. We might see a couple daily bearish candles push down, and then the rest of the weekly candle, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we start breaking these highs to the upside. Once those candles to the upside get broken, there's really nothing up until, you know, 2,500. We're probably going to come test 2,500 after that. So that's what we're watching for there. Looking at the daily candles, you can see that we're in a little bit of a range. It's going to show better on like the hourly time frame right here. So you can see we're consolidating here now. So it really needs to either break these highs to create that next move to the upside, or we're definitely due for a retracement. If you look in left, there was this huge move to the downside and no retracements in there. So there's a lot of inefficiency and imbalance down below this. So breaking this low down there, probably going to see some kind of correctional move to the downside. Ultimately, we need to respect these lows down in there if we're going to make another move to the upside. If not, if we break those lows to the downside, we're kind of putting a shift in structure there, and we might see a little bit more push downwards. Looking at the 4 hour, you can see how fast we made this push up, and we really never came back down into these levels. So definitely due for some kind of retracement to the downside. We just don't know when, because it's been very bullish the last, you know, 3 weeks. It's been pushing straight up. So go back to US30 real fast, still pushing upwards. Still hanging right around our TP2. Apple's pushing straight up. Tesla's making good moves to the upside. So good days for the stock market. After a pretty strong push to the downside, or a start to the downside on US30. Gold. I want to get an idea of where gold's going for the rest of the week. So looking at gold, we've just been in a steady crawl to the upside right here. Potentially could see a turnaround, you know, I mean, we're still not really at a rejection area. Looking at the weekly, we're coming up on one at around 1970 area. So the start of this weekly candle, we have already put in our low right here, and we have not yet broken the high. So this kind of goes back to what I was talking about of the first half of the candle putting in a low, and if the next candle breaks, the next half of the candle breaks the high, that's good confirmation that, you know, we're probably not going to come back down and test that low. So continuation to the upside. So today we're seeing a little bit of bearishness put in. We'll probably see that even tomorrow, through tomorrow potentially. I guess it really depends right here. If you're looking at the 4 hour, you can see that we're still putting in higher highs and higher lows here. We broke out of this structure to the upside right there. So now we're putting in a retracement here. So ideally, all we need to do to continue to the bullish side is we need to respect these lows right there. You got some kind of Fibonacci level that we're coming up on, or we're rejecting right in there. So looking at the lower time frames, we need to start seeing it shift structure on the lower time frames if we're going to remain bullish. So right here we put in a lower low, a lower high, lower low now. So if we're going to break out of here, we need to break this high right here to kind of shift structure back to the bull side, and we can start putting in bullish structure upwards to continue pushing up to about 1970. That's kind of where I'm targeting for the next week is 1970 level up in there. So hop back here, still really not doing much here. A little bit of consolidation here, volume starting to die off for sure here. 5-minute candle, we actually broke the high. We're still respecting lows here, so we're gonna mark each of these lows. The only one that broke that low was this candle, but actually no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna draw them. So we got a low here, low here. This candle is one that broke, and sometimes it happens, it breaks it fast, but when you see a quick move up after breaking that and breaking the high, that's a good sign. We had a bearish candle close, still respecting the low here. Next candle open bullish, still respected the previous candle's low there. Now this candle, if we're going to continue upwards, we need to start pushing and breaking this high. We already put in our low right here, so we need to respect this previous candle's low if we're going to push to the upside. How's our 5-minute candle volume looking? We saw an increase here on this big candle push up, which makes sense because we broke that low and immediately rejected there. Bull stepped in right away there, and still relatively high in volume, so definitely potential to keep pushing to the upside there. And the DXY is still kind of rejecting this low down there. Potential to kind of reject here and continue to the upside a little bit. You can see the range that we're in now. It's a pretty decent sized range. So, you know, for the rest of the day, it's highly possible that we just kind of move, you know, within this range. So. Other pairs you guys want me to look at before I hop off? Call it a day. Alright guys, thanks to everybody new that stopped in today. We'll be here every day this week, every day at 9 a.m. Eastern time, usually just from about 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for that open of the New York candle. So every day we're here trading live, you know, marking up stuff for you guys. So make sure you guys subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.
Searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my so alive. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah. Light is gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.